So, pretty much at the end of the player movement on the first turn, yellow went first. See a little bit of expansion or movement around. Red probably, and again because I took a break, made a mistake. They should have been heading towards Fion, a planet they could inhabit, and start pulling some of these minerals back to give them sort of a backfield to rely on to help fund their Great War. Instead, though, they move their colony ship, and they only have one left, forward on an exploration in the wrong direction for that. Now, blue doesn't have a lot left. Here's one of the things. Because of this, the competitive nature of this initial board that got set up, and it's because of the random setup. In the normal setup, you'd have a period where you could do a lot of expansion on your own. The ability to grow has kind of disappeared, as it were. And those Doomsday machines didn't help at all. So, yellow should have had the capacity to grow throughout here and try to build a real empire. And that might have sparked red and blue to eventually come to some sort of alliance around now. It's not happening, though, because yellow's facing these Doomsday machines, in part. And also because blue and red couldn't come to any kind of understanding at all. Speaking of the Doomsday machines, I moved the miner there to try to split that up. We'll see how that works out. They do indeed split. So the miner is going to be destroyed, but it was sent there for that reason, really. It's a sacrificial ship. Now, here's the question. Can yellow defend itself against one of those Doomsdays? Because it's a 9-3C. And their fleet has 4 3s. Another 3, but down at the E level. And then 4 more 3s who have that movement bonus if they survive. Facing them, we have the Doomsday fleet. We'll put the little battle marker down just to make it easier to find. Okay. So now, at C's, I give 4 dice from the systems ship, but these are all actually 3 minus 2, I believe, is the defense on the Doomsday. So they need 1s in order to hit. They didn't get any. The Doomsday gets 2 shots back. It's going to take them at the faster scout ships here. And I just need 9s to hit. I think that's close to guaranteed. So I killed 2 of those scout ships. That prevents them from firing in this round. And now it's 3 scouts coming back. And again, looking for 1s. Ooh, they got 1. Alright, but that's only 1 hit out of 3 that have to be taken on the Doomsday machine. So there's a good chance yellow's in a lot of trouble. Especially since there's a second machine here that's going to come in. They bought themselves some time from it, but not very much. Alright, let's see. Doomsday and the system ship go at the same time. I'll fire the system ship first, because it doesn't, it either destroys the Doomsday or not, basically. It's not going to affect anything. So they get no hits. The Doomsday comes back with 2 shots, and it'll take them on the remaining fast scout, or yeah, I guess fast scouts. I take them both out. And that again reduces yellow's firepower here. And it's down to 1 scout, I believe, which doesn't hit. And now we're in another round of combat, and yellow really can't retreat, and the Doomsday machine won't. They miss. Doomsday is going to fire 1 at the scout and 1 at the system ship. The scout miss. At the system ship, it's a hit. And now the scout gets to shoot. And it actually gets a hit. That's a second hit on the Doomsday machine. So it's almost destroyed. We'll see if the system ships that are left, there's 3 of them. These are shipyards, actually, not system ships. Can take it out. They do not. And it gets to shoot back again once at the scout and once at the shipyard, and it actually hits both. So now the scout doesn't get a shot, and it's looking pretty bad for yellow. We go to another round, and 2 shots from the shipyard. They miss. 2 shots from the Doomsday. They only kill 1. Final round, shipyard, Doomsday. The shipyard's destroyed, and yellow's been pretty much knocked out of the game at this point. The Doomsday machine goes back, and it drops the planet. Oh, it gets rolls against the planet, I'm sorry. It actually misses. Now, that's not going to do much, because there just isn't a fleet to combat it at this point. So it will eventually destroy the planet. But then we move on to turn 2, and it's looking like a fight between red and blue for the rest of the game. Yellow's already lost. On the second turn this time around, not much has changed. Yellow's trying to bring a single scout ship up in the hopes that it can defeat the Doomsday machine. These hits are removed from the Doomsday machine, though, and we have to figure out what's up with this other Doomsday machine. It has a chance of going to 1, 2, 3 different locations. At random, it'll slide in and attack this colony. So now I have attacks on the homeworld, and one of them hits. And on this colony, one of them hits. Meanwhile, over at the rest, well, blue is doing some exploration of around this colony, hoping to be able to build a shipyard there and maybe expand from there. But it's going to be hard to spend money up there when it's going to have to invest to defend its home against red. Likewise, red is making their colony ship come back to field. They have a couple of miners bringing valuables back to the home world. They haven't been able to colonize anything yet, so that's really where they're at. And I think we're going to see a very, very truncated game here because of the initial setup, but it's kind of interesting all the same. So we just finished the third turn there, and got this set where the tables aren't lying flat. The board's not a problem, actually. It's just how I have my tables. If I tilted them up, I could get it even, I'm sure. So yellow made a attack on this Doomsday machine, try to save their colony. They couldn't reach the home world in time. They lost. They're continuing to move around just because, hey, I'm still sort of in the game, kinda, but they're not really. Red shipped their goodies home and brought one of their defensive ships up into place. It's probably going to come out to some sort of battle royale pretty soon, I would guess. Hard to tell, though, because both sides are stockpiling their forces, so there's still that defensive bonus of those 4 shipyards in each home planet that's going to be tough to overcome in terms of just total production. So unless one side feels like it has the advantage, it may not work well that way. The problem here is red has lots of resources available. Of course, blue's pulling them in too. They grabbed a 10-pointer and they got another one here. So short-term resources, red may be slightly advantaged right now. Long-term resources, though, as these colonies begin to grow, they're going to be able to build their own capabilities, as it were. And if blue's able to expend that without losing their defensive advantage completely, if red's unable to attack Terra, blue will eventually win just due to the amount of space they have available. Red can't really advance this way because of the Doomsday machines in part. If they get close to them, they're in trouble. Of course, there's nothing too valuable next to them except for the yellow homeworld itself. Let's look what else. Down here there might be stuff of value, it's hard to tell. Alright, so we'll go to the economics phase. I'll take care of that and come back shortly. Okay, so while players are collecting their income, one interesting thing, the space wreck has shown up. And for this, looks like you roll somewhere. I saw it once. There it is. You roll to see which technology you get. There's a little cheat sheet of what all these, or some of these things do, in this case. Otherwise I wouldn't know which one to take. He gets a bonus level of defense. That's really cool. And he's also buying rolls on the attack table. So we'll see how he turns out. He might end up being able to launch his attack this turn. So on the turn order, no one bid. That means actually yellow, as the first player, gets the choice of who's going to go first. Do they want to make red or blue go first? Rather than be a kingmaker in any sense, not that I think it matters at all, they're going to roll a die. And they're going to make blue go first. So we put a blue here. And then we went through the purchase and placement. And here with the random tech, etc., one can't predict what's going to happen. Now, the red player got the bonus defensive technology. They also invested into attack technology, but actually could not have gotten it. They would have had to roll well. They would, if they could have, if they rolled very, very well. But they didn't, and instead, they ended up buying themselves another destroyer and retrofitting 2 of their older destroyers to have that defensive bonus. It only costs a point each because they're smaller ships with only 1 hull. Biggest advantage, though, the shipyards automatically upgrade. So now they've got a more defensive position in their homeworld. Well, blue did something similar. They also went with tech, got themselves their attack bonus, but they put $10 in, a decent shot at getting hull size. They didn't get it. And so instead they built themselves 3 more scouts and retrofitted a couple of the remaining ones. So they now have the attack bonus. Red has the defense bonus. Probably cancels out largely. All new ships will be built with the improved values, but some of the ships that are sitting out here don't have them yet. And it's going to be kind of a pain to keep track of these different values. Just like I was kind of worried about keeping track of the movement value with yellow. Yellow actually, I don't think they actually reached it, did they? No, they had actually reached it. None of their ships survived that had it. So, although I don't know about things like colony ships, they may have. But had they survived in the game, it would have been really hard to remember. In the 3rd round, you get 2 movement with some of your ships. That's going to be a kind of finicky aspect of the game that would take a lot of getting used to. All right, well, guess we're done with this turn. Except for increased colonies. I didn't do that. And Sheldon here is going to be a maximum sized blue colony. It can't get any bigger than that, which is interesting. It limits the value of your outer areas. They can reach a certain productivity and then they just become more minor planets as you keep going. But it's just a different paradigm than what you see in Stellar Conquest. And I think it's at a different time scale. Stellar Conquest, those ships aren't supposed to be traveling at above light speed. Whereas here it feels like everything's going at very fast speeds, and that the production, etc., is fitting to what to a different scale. All right, I'm gonna load this one up.